B. Jennifer Lopez, or C. Miley Cyrus?
And I'm going to go for C. Miley Cyrus.
Well, we'll find out at the end of the program. Now, before we go much further, why don't we find out a bit more? Hello and welcome to 6 Minute English, the program where we bring you an interesting topic and 6 items of vocabulary. I'm Neil.
And I'm Catherine.
Now, if you want to fight climate change, what can you do?
Well, you can use less electricity.
Or stop driving.
But scientists believe there is another behavior which has an even bigger impact on the planet, and that is what you eat.
We're talking about meat here. If people cut out meat and animal products from their diets, harmful emissions could be reduced by 70%. That's according to research from Oxford University.
Now, emissions are the gases produced by an activity or living thing. So we can talk about factory emissions or farming emissions.
And if you eat no meat or animal products, you're what we call vegan. More and more people around the world, and if you eat no meat or animal products, you're what we call vegan. More and more people around the world are going vegan. Today's question, which of these celebrities is vegan? Is it A. Brad Pitt, B. Jennifer Lopez, or C. Miley Cyrus?
And I'm going to go for C. Miley Cyrus.
Well, we'll find out at the end of the program. Now, before we go much further, why don't we find out a bit more about exactly what it means to be a vegan?
Here's Tom Coonan from the Vegan Society in the UK.
Veganism is a way of living which excludes, as far as is possible and practical, all forms of exploitation and cruelty to animals. So that's for food, clothing, or any other purpose. So we just don't want to use or abuse animals. And we feel like there are plenty of alternatives. In this day and age, it's never been easier to be vegan.
Of course,
and we feel like there are plenty of alternatives. In this day and age, it's never been easier to be vegan. And we feel like there are plenty of alternatives. In this day and age, it's never been easier to be vegan.
Of course,
and we feel like there are plenty of alternatives. In this day and age, it's never been easier to be vegan. And we feel like there are plenty of alternatives. In this day and age, it's never been easier to be vegan. And we feel like there are plenty of alternatives. In this day and age, it's never been easier to be vegan.
Of course, he says that avoiding cruelty to animals is what it's all about, but that doesn't just mean food. Of course, he says that avoiding cruelty to animals is what it's all about, but that doesn't just mean food. If you're of course, he says that avoiding cruelty to animals is what it's all about, but that doesn't just mean food. If you're a true vegan, then clothing from animals is also out. No more leather shoes.
But he feels that it's easier than ever before to become vegan, and he uses a nice phrase, in this day and age.
Yes, it means these days or in the present time. It's often used to highlight a contrast with the previous time.
So,
yes, it means these days or in the present time. It's often used to highlight a contrast with the previous time.
So,
yes, it means these days or in the present time. It's often used to highlight a contrast with the previous time.
So, many people go vegan for ethical reasons. Now, ethical is a useful word. It means relating to moral beliefs. So, if you become vegan for many people go vegan for ethical reasons. Now, ethical is a useful word. It means relating to moral beliefs. So many people go vegan for ethical reasons. Now, ethical is a useful word. It means relating to moral beliefs. So, if you become vegan for ethical reasons, you do it because you think it's wrong to eat or use animal products. So, if you become vegan for ethical reasons, you do it because you think it's wrong to eat or use animal products. So, if you become vegan for ethical reasons, you do it because you think it's wrong to eat or use animal products. So, if you become vegan for ethical reasons, you do it because you think it's wrong to eat or use animal products.
Others go vegan because of environmental considerations, as we looked at earlier. Rearing livestock, Others go vegan because of environmental considerations, as we looked at earlier. Rearing livestock, others go vegan because of environmental considerations, as we looked at earlier. Rearing livestock, that means animals like cows. Rearing livestock, that means animals like cows and pigs, produces a lot of harmful methane gas. Now, let's just say the rearing livestock, that means animals like cows and pigs, produces a lot of harmful methane gas. Now, rearing livestock, that means animals like cows and pigs, produces a lot of harmful methane gas. Now, rearing livestock, that means animals like cows and pigs, produces a lot of harmful methane gas. Rearing livestock, that means animals like cows and pigs, produces a lot of harmful. Rearing livestock, that means animals like cows and pigs, produces a lot of harmful methane gas. Now, let's just say the animals themselves produce a lot of it. Rearing livestock, that means animals like cows and pigs, produces a lot of harmful methane gas.
House. Oh.
Cow.
Cow. Cow.
Rearing livestock, that means animals like cows and pigs, produces a lot of harmful methane gas. Now, let's just say the animals themselves produce a lot of it from their
bodies. Now, let's just say that animals themselves produce a lot of it from their bodies.
Now, let's just say the animals themselves produce a lot of it from their bodies.
Now, let's just say the animals in themselves produce a lot of it from their bodies.
Now, let's just say the animals themselves produce a lot of it from their bodies.
Now, let's just say the animals themselves produce a lot of it from their bodies.
The other major reason to choose veganism.
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 Veganism, now less renowned for a vegan diet.
Veganism 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 now less renowned for a vegan diet.
It's because they believe it's healthier.
It's because they believe it's healthier.
It's because they believe it's healthier.
It's because they believe it's healthier. It's because they believe it's healthier. Because it's because they believe it's healthier. In the research from Oxford University we mentioned earlier. In the research from Oxford University we mentioned earlier. In the research from Oxford University we mentioned earlier. In the research from Oxford University we mentioned earlier. In the research from Oxford University we mentioned earlier. Scientists found that 8 million deaths per year could be avoided if the world went vegan. Scientists found that 8 million deaths per year could be avoided if the world went vegan. Scientists found that 8 million deaths per year could be avoided if the world went vegan. Scientists found that 8 million deaths per year could be avoided if the world went vegan. Scientists found that 8 million deaths per year could be avoided if the world went vegan. Scientists found that 8 million deaths per year could be avoided if the world went vegan.
Now that's human deaths. They claim that half of this figure would be because we no longer eat red meat.
They can let half of this figure would be because we no longer eat red meat. Figure.
Now that's human deaths. They claim that half of this figure would be because we no longer eat red meat.
Now let's human eat days. They can let half of this figure would be because we no longer eat red meat.
Now that's human deaths. They claim that half of this figure would be because we no longer eat red meat.
Now less human deaths. They collect half of this figure would be because we no longer eat red meat.
Now that's human deaths. They claim that half of this figure
would be because we no longer eat red meat. Now less human deaths. They collect half of this figure would be because we no longer eat red meat.
And the other half would be due to eating more healthy fruit and vegetables, as well as fewer people being overweight.
And the other half would be due to eating more healthy fruit and vegetables, as well as fewer people being overweight.
And the other half would be due to eating more healthy fruit and vegetables, as well as fewer people being overweight.
And the other half will be due to eating more healthy fruit and vegetables, as well as fewer people being overweight.
And the other half will be due to eating more healthy fruit and vegetables, as well as fewer people being overweight.
And the other half will be due to eating more healthy fruit and vegetables, as well as fewer people being overweight.
The other half will be due to eating more healthy fruit and vegetables, as well as fewer people being overweight.
And the other half will be due to eating more healthy fruit and vegetables, as well as fewer people being overweight.
And they say that this would have an economic impact too.
And they say that this will have an economic impact too.
And they say that this would have an economic impact too.
And they say that this will have an economic impact too.
And they say that this would have an economic impact too.
And they say that this would have an economic impact too.
And they say that this would have an economic impact too.
And they say that this will have an economic impact too.
And they say that this would have an economic impact too.
And they say that this will have an economic impact too.
And they say that this would have an economic impact too.
And they say that this would have a and they say that this would have an economic impact too.
And they say that this would have an economic impact too.
And they say that this would have an economic impact too.
They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to reduced healthcare costs and increased productivity at work.
Use
USD.
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 They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to reduced healthcare costs and increased product. They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to reduced healthcare. They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to reduced healthcare costs and increased productivity at work. They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to reduced healthcare costs and increased productivity at work.
Billion 是什么字 ？Billion。Billion， billion， 10亿
billion
10亿1万亿呢
They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to reduced healthcare costs and increased productivity at work.
They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to reduced healthcare costs.
Healthcare
医疗保健 healthcare healthcare cost.
They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to reduced healthcare costs and increased productivity at work. They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to reduced healthcare costs and increased productivity at work. They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to reduced healthcare costs and increased productivity at work. They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to reduced healthcare costs and increased productivity at work.
Hey, 不好意思，我刚刚有跟你们一个楼借用一下，
我只是来看卫生纸。
不好意思，因为我们那层楼在打扫，交易厅，我最近遇到一个楼友跟他说借用一下，
你尽量用。
不好意思，因为他们刚好在这个时间，我们那层在打扫。
我只是来查。
Thank you.
They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to reduced healthcare costs and increased productivity at work.
They suggest up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to reduced healthcare costs. 不好意思。
They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to reduced healthcare costs and increased productivity at work.
And increased productivity at work.
They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to reduced healthcare costs and increased productivity at work.
And increased productivity at work. Let's suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to reduced healthcare cost. Reduce healthcare costs and increase productivity at work.
They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to reduced healthcare costs and increased productivity at work.
They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to reduced healthcare costs and increased productivity at work.
They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to reduced healthcare costs and increased productivity at work.
They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year will be saved due to healthcare costs and help due to reduced healthcare costs and increased productivity at work.
They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to reduced healthcare costs and increased productivity at work.
They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to
They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year would be saved due to reduced healthcare costs and increased productivity at work.
They suggest that up to $1,000 billion a year will be saved due to reduced healthcare cost and increased productivity at work. We choose. Suggest 即提议他们建议 suggest because few people will be sick. Because few people will get 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 sick.
So if it's all so simple, why don't we all go vegan tomorrow?
So if it's also simple, why don't we all go vegan tomorrow?
So if it's all so simple, why don't we all go vegan tomorrow?
So if it's also simple, why don't we go vegan or why don't we all go vegan tomorrow?
So if it's all so simple, why don't we all go vegan tomorrow?
So if it's all so simple, why don't we all go vegan tomorrow?
So if it's all so simple, why don't we all go vegan tomorrow?
So if it's also simple tomorrow. So if it's also simple, why don't we go? So if it's also simple, why don't we all go vegan tomorrow?
So if it's also simple, why don't we all go vegan tomorrow?
So if it's also simple, why don't we all go vegan tomorrow?
Well, eating is an important part of most cultures. Not everyone wants to change.
Well, eating is an important part of most cultures. Not everyone wants to change.
Well, eating is an important part of most cultures. Not everyone wants to change.
Cultures.
Well, eating is an important part of most cultures. Not everyone wants to change.
Meat eating is an important part of most culture. Not everyone wants to change.
Well, meat eating is an important part of most cultures. Not everyone wants to change.
Well, meat eating is an important part of most cultures. Not everyone wants to change.
Well, meat eating is an important part of most cultures. Not everyone wants to change.
Well, meat eating is an important part of most culture. Not everyone wants to change.
Well, meat eating is an important part of most cultures. Not everyone wants to change.
Well, meat eating is an important part of most cultures. Not everyone wants to change. Not everyone wants to change. And millions of people worldwide raise livestock for a living. And millions of people worldwide raise livestock for a living. Worldwide. Raise livestock. 畜牧 raise livestock. Raise livestock for living. And millions of people worldwide raise livestock for a living. And millions of people worldwide raise livestock for a living. And millions of people worldwide raise livestock for a living. And millions of people worldwide raise livestock for living. And millions of people worldwide raise livestock for a living. And millions of people worldwide raise livestock for living. And millions of people worldwide raise livestock for a living. And millions of people worldwide raise livestock for a living. And millions of people worldwide raise livestock for a living. And millions of people worldwide raise livestock for living. And millions of people worldwide raise livestock for living.
So these jobs will disappear. Now, with up to a
people
third of
live
the
in
planet
regions
estimated to be
to
arid,
land,
which means dry and unable to support
etc.
crops.
So these jobs will disappear. Now with up to a third of the planet. A third of a planet. 1/3. Third. 1/3. 1/3. A third. 1/3 of. 1/3.
So these jobs will disappear. Now, with up to a third of the planet estimated to be arid, which means dry and unable to support crops.
Now with up to. Now with up to a third of the planet. Estimated to be arid. Estimated to be arid. 估计嘛 estimate.
Estimate.
Estimated to be arid. 反汉的 arid. To be arid, which means dry and unable to support crops.
So these jobs will disappear.
Now with
up
up
to
to
a
a
third
third
of the
of
planet
the planet
estimated to be
be
arid,
arid, which means
dry
dry
and
and
unable
unable to support
crops.
crops. So these jobs will be disappear. Now with up to a third of the planet estimated to be arid, which means dry and unable to support crops.
So these jobs will disappear.
disappear. Now
with up to a third of the planet estimated to be arid,
which means
dry and unable to support crops.
Now, so these jobs will disappear. Now with up to a third of the planet estimated to be arid, which means dry and unable to support crops.
So these jobs will disappear.
Now with
up
up
to
to
a
a
third
third
of the planet estimated to be arid,
which means
dry
dry
and
and
unable
unable
to
to
support
support
crops.
crops. So these jobs will disappear. Now with up to a third of the planet estimated to be arid, which means dry and unable to support crops.
So these jobs will disappear.
Now with
up
up to a
third
third
of
of
the
the
planet
planet
estimated
estimated
to be arid,
which means
dry
dry
and
and
unable to support crops.
So these jobs will disappear. Now with up to a third of the planet is estimated to be arid, which means dry and unable to support crops.
People living in these regions rely on livestock. So people, for example, like the Berbers in the Sahara region.
People living in these regions rely on livestock. So people, for example, like the Berbers in the Sahara region.
People living in these regions rely on livestock. So people, for example, like the Berbers in the Sahara region.
People living in these regions rely on livestock. So people, for example, like the Berbers live in the Sahara region.
People living in these regions rely on livestock. So people, for example, like the Berbers in the Sahara region.
People living in these regions rely on livestock. So people, for example, like the Berbers in the Sahara region.
People living in these regions rely on livestock. So people, for example, like the Berbers in the Sahara region.
People living in these regions rely on livestock. So people, for example, like the Berbers in the Sahara regions. People living in these regions rely on livestock. So people, for
for
example,
example,
like
like
the
the
Berbers in the
Sahara
Sahara
region.
region. People living in these regions rely on livestock. So people, for example, like the Berbers in the Sahara region. People living in these regions rely on livestock.
So people, for example, like the Berbers in the Sahara region.
People living in these regions rely on livestock. So people, for example, like the Berbers in the Sahara region.
Without animal farming, they'd be forced to abandon traditional nomadic lifestyles.
Without animal farming, they would be forced to abandon traditional nomadic lifestyles. Without animal farming, they would be forced to abandon traditional nomadic lifestyles.
Nomadic. 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 Nomadic.
Nomadic.
Nomadic.
Nomadic.
Nomadic.
Nomadic. Nomadic. Nomadic. Nomadic.
Without animal farming, they'd be forced to abandon traditional nomadic lifestyles.
Without animal farming, they would be forced to abandon traditional nomadic lifestyles.
Without animal farming, they'd be forced to abandon traditional nomadic lifestyles.
Without animal farming, they would be forced to abandon traditional nomadic lifestyles.
Without animal farming, they'd be forced to abandon traditional nomadic lifestyles.
Without animal farming, they would be forced to abandon traditional nomadic lifestyles.
Without animal farming, they'd be forced to abandon traditional nomadic lifestyles.
Without animal farming, they would be forced to abandon traditional nomadic lifestyles.
Without animal farming, they'd be forced to abandon traditional nomadic lifestyles.
Without animal farming, they would be forced to abandon traditional nomadic lifestyles.
That's where they move from place to place and settle in cities.
That's where they move from place to place and settle in cities. That's where they move from place to place and settle in cities. Settle.
Settle.
That's where they move from place to place and settle in cities. That's where they move from place to place and settle in cities.
Settle.
That's where they move from place to place and settle in cities.
That's where they move from place to place and settle in cities.
That's where they move from place to place and settle in cities.
That's where they move from place to place and settle in cities.
That's where they move from place to place and settle in cities.
That's where they move from settle to settle. That's where they move from place to place and settle in cities.
That's where they move from place to place and settle in cities. That's where they move from place to place and settle in cities.
That's where they move from place to place and settle in cities.
And for many people, well, they just like eating meat and dairy.
Dairy.乳制品 dairy.
And for many people, well, they just like eating meat and dairy.
And for many people, well, they just like eating meat and dairy.
And for many people, well, they just like eating meat and dairy.
And for many people, they just like eating meat and dairy.
And for many people, well, they just like eating meat and dairy.
And for many people,
well, they just like eating meat and dairy.
And for many people, well, they just like eating meat and dairy.
And for many people, well, they just like eating meat and dairy.
We asked you about well-known vegans. Which of these is vegan? Brad Pitt, Jennifer Lopez, or Miley Cyrus?
Miley Cyrus. Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer. 布莱德比特我不知道啊。Jennifer Lopez 这个很印象。Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer. Mm-hmm. Jennifer Lopez. 他是流行音乐天后。 嗯嗯嗯这个我好像有点印象。 好了，我知道谁是坚尼罗贝兹了。好，我来看这边。
We asked you about well-known
vegans.
vegans. Which of these is vegan? Brad Pitt, Jennifer Lopez, or Miley Cyrus?
We asked you about well-known vegans. Which of these is vegan? A. Brad Pitt, B. Jennifer Lopez, or C. Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus 是谁？我不认识，查一下这个人。Miley Cyrus。这个人好像没有呢。他好年轻哦，这个人。Miley Cyrus。Miley Cyrus。啊？ 好吧，我已经认识了这个，继续回来看这边用的英文，认识这个人，知道什么是珍妮弗·罗佩兹，知道什么是 Miley Cyrus，布莱德·比特，我本来就知道他是谁。
We asked you about well-known
We
vegans.
asked you.
Which of these is vegan? We asked you about well-known vegans. Which of these is vegan? Brad Pitt,
B.
Jennifer Lopez, or Miley Cyrus?
We asked you about well-known vegans. Which of these is vegan? Brad Pitt, Jennifer Lopez, or Miley Cyrus? We
asked you about well-known vegans. Which of these is vegan? Brad Pitt, Jennifer Lopez, or Miley Cyrus?
Miley Cyrus. 这个还有点痛。Miley Cyrus.
And I said it was Miley Cyrus.
I say it was Miley Cyrus.
And I said it was Miley Cyrus.
I say it was Miley Cyrus.
And I said it was Miley Cyrus.
I say it was Miley Cyrus.
Well, you're kind of half right, Catherine. In fact, both Brad Pitt and Miley Cyrus are
vegan. Well, you are kind of half right, Catherine. In fact, both Brad Pitt and Miley Cyrus are vegan.
Well, you're kind of half right, Catherine. In fact, both Brad Pitt and Miley Cyrus are vegan. Well, you're kind of half right, Catherine. In fact, both Brad Pitt and Miley Cyrus are vegan.
Well, you are kind of half right, Catherine. In fact, both Brad Pitt and Miley Cyrus are vegan.
Well, you're kind of half right, Catherine. In fact, both Brad Pitt and Miley Cyrus are vegan.
Well, you are kind of half right, Catherine. In fact, both Brad Pitt and Miley Cyrus are vegan.
Well, you're kind of half right, Catherine. In fact, both Brad Pitt and Miley Cyrus are vegan.
Well, you are kind of half right, Catherine. In fact, both Brad Pitt and Miley Cyrus are vegan.
Jennifer Lopez used to be, but has since started to get apparently.
Jennifer Lopez used to be, but has since started eating meat again. Apparently, 很显然 ，apparently 显然地，应该是等于 obvious， 显然地。
Jennifer Lopez used to be, but has since started to get apparently.
Again, apparently. Jennifer Lopez used to be, but has since started eating meat again, apparently.
Jennifer Lopez used to be, but has since started
eating meat again, apparently. Jennifer Lopez used to be, but has since started eating meat again, apparently.
Jennifer Lopez used to be, but has since started eating meat again, apparently.
Jennifer Lopez used to be, but has since started eating meat again, apparently.
Now, why don't we wrap up by looking at today's vocabulary one more time?
Now, why don't we wrap up? Wrap up. Why don't we wrap up? 为什么不圆满完成 ？Wrap up. By looking at today's vocabulary one more time. Wrap up.
Now, why don't we wrap up by looking at today's vocabulary one more time?
再一次 ，one more time.
Now, why don't we wrap up by looking at today's vocabulary one more time?
Now, why don't we wrap up by looking at today's vocabulary one more time?
Now, why don't we wrap up by looking at today's vocabulary one more time?
Now, why don't we look up? Why don't we wrap up by looking up?
Now, why don't we wrap up by looking at today's vocabulary one more time?
Now, why don't we wrap up by look at today's vocabulary one more time?
Now, why don't we wrap up by looking at today's vocabulary one more time?
Now, why don't we wrap up by looking at today's vocabulary one more time?
Now, why don't we wrap up by looking at today's vocabulary one more time?
Now, why don't we wrap up by looking at today's vocabulary one more time?
Now, why don't we wrap up by looking at today's vocabulary one more time?
Now, why don't we wrap up by looking at today's vocabulary one more time? Now,
why don't we wrap up by looking at today's vocabulary one more time?
Now, why don't we wrap up by looking at today's vocabulary one more time?
Well, we started with emissions, gases produced by something or an activity such as digestion.
Well, we started with emissions, gases, emissions. Emissions. Gases produced by something or an activity such as digestion,
Digestion.
Well, we started with emissions, gases produced by something or an activity such as digestion.
We always start with emissions, gases produced by something or activity such as digestion.
Well, we started with emissions, gases produced by something or an activity such as digestion.
We always start with emissions, such gases produced by something or activities such as digestion.
Well, we started with emissions, gases produced by something or an activity such as digestion.
We always start with emissions, gases produced by something or an activity such as digestion.
Livestock emissions, for example, are gases produced by animals.
Livestock emissions, for example,
well, we started with emissions, gases produced by something or an activity such as digestion.
We always start with emissions, such gases produced by something or an activity such as digestion.
Livestock emissions, for example, are gases produced by animals.
Livestock emissions for example, are gases produced by animals.
Livestock emissions, for example, are gases produced by animals.
Livestock emissions, for example, are gases produced by animals.
Livestock emissions, for example, are gases produced by animals. Livestock emissions, for example, are gases produced by animals.
Livestock emissions, for example, are gases produced by animals.
Livestock emissions, for example, are gases produced by animals.
Livestock emissions, for example, are gases produced by animals.
Livestock emissions, for example, are gases produced by animals.
We can also add a word that describes a kind of emissions, like methane emissions or greenhouse gas emissions.
We can also add a word that describes a kind of emissions, like methane emissions or greenhouse gas emissions.
We can also add a word that describes a kind of emissions, like methane emissions or greenhouse gas emissions.
We can also add a word that describes a type of emissions, like methane emissions or greenhouse gas emissions.
We can also add a word that describes a kind of emissions, like methane emissions or greenhouse gas emissions.
We can also add a word that describes a kind of emissions, like methane emissions or greenhouse gas emissions.
We can also add a word that describes a kind of emissions, like methane emissions or greenhouse gas emissions.
We can also add a word that describes a type of emissions, like methane emissions or greenhouse gas emissions.
We can also add a word that describes a kind of emissions, like methane emissions or greenhouse gas emissions.
We can also add a word that describes a kind of emissions, like methane emissions or greenhouse gas emissions.
Next up, we had in this day and age, which means these days.
Next, we had in this day and age, which means these days.
Next up, we had in this day and age, which means these days.
Next up, we had in this day and age, which means these days.
Next up, we had in this day and age, which means these days.
Next up, we had in this day and age, which means these days.
Next up, we had in this day and age, which means these days.
Next up, we had
in this day and age, which means these days.
Next up, we had in this day and age, which means these days.
I still can't believe you don't have a smartphone in this day and age, Neil.
I still can't believe you still don't have a smartphone in this day and age, Neil.
I still can't believe you don't have a smartphone in this day and age, Neil.
I still can't believe you still don't have a smartphone in this day and age, Neil.
I still can't believe you don't have a smartphone in this day and age, Neil.
I still
can't believe you don't have a smartphone in this day and age, Neil.
I still can't believe that you don't have a smartphone in this day and age, Neil. I still can't believe you don't have a smartphone in this day and age, Neil. I still can't believe you still don't have a smartphone in this day and age, Neil.
Well, maybe I just object to smartphones for ethical reasons.
Well, maybe I just object to smartphone for ethical reasons.
Well, maybe I just object to smartphones for ethical reasons.
Well, maybe I just object to smartphones for ethical reasons.
Well, maybe I just object to smartphones for ethical reasons.
Well, maybe I just object to smartphone for ethical reasons.
Well, maybe I just object to smartphones for ethical reasons.
Well, maybe I just object to smartphone for ethical reasons.
Well, maybe I just object to smartphones for ethical reasons.
Well, maybe I just object to smartphone for ethical reasons. Or maybe I just object to smartphone for ethical reasons.
Oh, so you've got moral objections to smartphone?
So you have more moral reasons for smartphone.
Oh, so you've got moral objections to smartphone.
So you have more moral reasons for smartphone.
Oh, so you've got moral objections to smartphone. Oh, so you've got moral objections to smartphone.
So you have moral reasons to smartphone.
Oh, so you've got moral objections to smartphone. Oh, so you've got moral objections to smartphone.
So you have for moral reasons. Moral objections for smartphone.
Oh, so you've got moral objections to smartphone.
So you have for moral objections for smartphone. So you have for moral objections. So you have for moral objections for smartphone.
Yeah, for me it's important.
Oh, so you've got moral objections to smartphone.
So you have for moral objections to smartphone.
Oh, so you've got moral objections to smartphone.
So you have for moral. So you have for moral objections to smartphone.
Oh, so you've got moral objections to smartphone.
So you have for moral objections to smartphone. So you have for moral objections to smartphone.
Yeah, for me it's important to understand the condition of the workers in the factory where the smartphone is made.
Yeah, for me it's important to understand the conditions of the workers in the factory where the smartphone is made.
Yeah, for me it's important to understand the condition of the workers in the factory where the smartphone is made.
Yeah, for me it's important to understand the conditions of the workers in the factory where the smartphone is made.
Yeah, for me it's important to understand the condition of the workers in the factory where the smartphone is made.
Yeah, for me it's important to understand the conditions of the workers in the factory where the smartphone is made.
Yeah, for me it's important to understand the condition of the workers in the factory where the smartphone is made.
Yeah, for me it's important for me it's important to understand the conditions of the workers in the factory where the smartphone is made.
Yeah, for me it's important to understand the condition of the workers in the factory where the smartphone is made.
Yeah, for me it's important to understand the conditions of the workers in the factory where the smartphone is made. Yeah, for me it's important to understand the conditions of the workers in the factory where the smartphone is made.
That's fair enough then. But you haven't become vegan yet for ethical reasons, have you?
Let's fair enough. Let's fair enough. Let's fair enough. Let's fair enough.
That's fair enough then. But you haven't become vegan yet for ethical reasons, have you?
Let's fair enough then. But Neil, you haven't become vegan yet for ethical reasons, have you?
That's fair enough then. But you haven't become vegan yet for ethical reasons, have you?
Let's fair enough then. But Neil, you haven't become vegan yet for ethical reasons, have you? That's
Fair
fair
enough
enough.
then. But you haven't become vegan yet for ethical reasons, have you?
That's fair enough. But Neil, you haven't become vegan yet for ethical reasons. Have you? Have you?
That's fair enough then. But you haven't become vegan yet for ethical reasons, have you? That's fair enough then. But you haven't become vegan yet for ethical reasons, have you?
That's fair enough, but Neil, you haven't become vegan for ethical reasons, have you? You haven't become vegan yet for ethical reasons, have you? You haven't become vegan yet for ethical reasons, have you? You are
You got me
coming
there.
there.
I admire veganism, but I still like cheese too much to do it. Veganism is the noun.
You've got me there. You've got me there. You've got me. You've got me. You've got me there. You've got me there. You've got me there. You've got me there. I admire veganism, but I still like cheese too much to do it. Veganism is the noun.
You got me there. I admire veganism, but I still like cheese too much to do it. Veganism is the noun. You got me there. I admire veganism, but I still like cheese too much to do it. Veganism is the noun.
You've got me there. I admire veganism, but I like cheese too much to eat it. Veganism is the noun. You
got me there. I admire veganism, but I still like cheese too much to do it. Veganism is the noun.
You've got me there. I admire veganism, but I still like cheese too much to eat. Veganism is the noun.
You got me there. I admire veganism, but I still like cheese too much to do it. Veganism is the noun.
That's right.
So two more words to go. We have arid and livestock.
That's right. So two more words to do. Two more words to go. We have arid and livestock. That's right.
So two more words to go. We have arid and livestock.
That's right. So two more words to go. We have arid and livestock. That's right.
So two more words to go. We have arid and livestock.
That's right. So two more words to go. We have arid and livestock.
Arid describes land that is too dry
to support many crops or plants. Arid describes land that is too dry to support many crops or plants.
Arid describes land that is too dry to support many crops or plants.
Arid describes land that is too dry to support many crops or plants.
Arid describes land that is too dry to support many crops or plants.
Arid is a word. Arid describes the land is too dry. Is too dry to support crops or plants. Many crops or plants.
Arid describes land that is too dry to support many crops or plants.
Arid describes a land is too dry to support many crops or plants. Arid describes land that is too dry. Arid describes a land that is too dry to support many crops or plants. Arid describes land that is too dry to support many crops or plants.
But arid regions can sometimes support livestock. Livestock means farm animals.
But arid regions can sometimes support livestock. Livestock means farm animals.
But arid regions can sometimes support livestock. Livestock means farm animals. But arid regions can sometimes support livestock. Livestock means farm animals.
means farm animals. But arid regions can sometimes support livestock. Livestock means farm animals. But arid regions can sometimes support livestock. Livestock means farm animals.
But arid regions can sometimes support livestock. Livestock means farm animals.
But arid regions can sometimes support livestock. Livestock means farm animals.
But arid regions can sometimes support livestock. Livestock means farm animals.
But arid regions can sometimes support livestock. Livestock means farm animals.
If you think of the stock as being the asset to the business, then animals are living or livestock.
If you think of the stock, stock 是股票，我的股票，我只做股票。Stock. If you think of the stock.
If you think of the stock as being the asset to the business, then animals are living or livestock.
If you think of the stock as being assets of a business, 是一个企业的资产。资产。
Assets.
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 Being the assets of a business, the animals are living or livestock.
If you think of the stock as being the asset to the business, then animals are living or livestock.
If you think of the stock as being the assets of a business, the animals are living or livestock.
If you think of the stock as being the asset to the business, then animals are living or livestock.
If you think of the stock are the assets of a business, the animals are living or livestock.
If you think of the stock as being the asset to the business, then animals are living or livestock.
If you think of the stock as being the assets of a business, the animals are living or livestock.
And that brings us to the end of today's program.
And that brings us to the end of today's program.
And that brings us to the end of today's program.
And that brings us to the end of today's program. And that brings us to the end of today's program. And that brings us to the end of today's program. And that brings us to the end of today's program. And that brings us to this. And that brings us to the end of today's program. And that brings us to the end of today's program. And that brings us to the end of today's program. And that brings us to the end of today's program. And that brings us to the end of today's program.
Join us on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube pages for lots more. Let us know what you think of veganism.
Join us on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube pages for lots more. Let us know what you think of veganism. What you think of veganism. Join us on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube pages for lots more.
Join us on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube pages for lots more. Let us know what you think of veganism.
Instagram. Join us on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or the YouTube pages for lots more. Let us know what you think of veganism. Join
us on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube pages for lots more. Let us know what you think of veganism.
Join us on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the YouTube pages for Let's More. Let us know what you think of veganism.
Join us on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube pages for lots more. Let us know what you think of veganism.
Join us on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube pages for Let's More. Let us know what you think of veganism. Join us on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube pages for Let's More. Let us know what you think of veganism.
Bye for now.
Bye.
No.